Hi, this is a demonstration of HTTP Monitor project, which basically takes in Apache style logs of access into a web server and returns some interesting statistics and information about what's really happening with the server. This is the general structure of my directory. The reason I want you to go over this is so that you know how to run this project and see it for yourself. So what I have is a Docker Compose file. This is Docker version Compose version 3 that you need to use to run this software. Generate logs.sh is a script which just generates additional logs for testing purposes. Logstash directory has some tests and logstash configuration inside it. Readme is readme. Run docker is the command which is it's a shell script which starts Docker Compose for you, so you don't have to really know what commands you need to use. And service is the one which has the real server implementation. Let's look at service. So service. We have two main files here, esquery and server. Server is the main entry point that has the main function, and it also prints out all the output. This is the main console monitoring output for this. esquery is a simple module which makes queries into Elasticsearch for the purpose of this application. Let us quickly run this server and see what happens. So what we're going to do is, in the top level directory, just run docker compose.sh, and this is supposed to start Elasticsearch and pipeline, the Logstash pipeline. And when you see this in your output, that means everything is working fine now. And now from the top level directory, we can use python 3 service server.py, and this is the console program already running. So what it says is starting HTTP monitor. It does some index, put some index inside Elasticsearch, and what we're looking at is we got a new event in the first 10 seconds, and the name of the event is top hits, and it says there are no new alerts, there are no historical alerts recorded so far. Every 10 seconds it's going to keep printing this new thing, the same kind of output all the time. No new alerts, no historical alerts so far. These are the sections that were visited. Sections is basically the URL between the first slash and the second slash after the domain name. And it shows some total hits recorded so far. This table is sorted by the total hits and not by hits in the last 10 seconds. But what we also show here is the hits for those same URLs in the last 10 seconds. Additionally, what I'm also showing here is the top client IP, which tried to access this web server in the last 10 seconds. So this keeps on rolling, and this keeps going along. Every 10 seconds it's going to print something. As we see here, it's already 80 seconds since we started this for the first time. And let's do something interesting. What we really want to see here is when we actually have some hits on a web server, are we able to collect all that log information and able to see if it gives us some interesting monitoring information about that server. So we go back to the top level directory, and what we're going to do is just run generate logs.sh. Hey, it says that it generated 1203 new log files. Let's go take a look at what happened here. Hey, in Elasticsearch, in this application, we're able to see that wheelsets got some hits, stems got some hits, saddles didn't get any hit. And all that information, and then we also got that the top client IP in the last 10 seconds was this IP address. But after that, that's all done. All those requests were recorded in the last 10 seconds, and we queried that and we displayed it in the last 10 seconds. Now, why is there no alert for that? The reason there's no alert for that is because I set the threshold to 30,000 hits and not just 1,000, 2,000 hits. So whenever we get a number of requests more than 30,000, that's when we are going to be able to see some alerts. Now, as you can see here, the total number of hits is going to increase because of that. But now, since we're letting it run for some more time without generating any more logs, there are no more hits anymore. There are no client IP addresses. All right, let's try to generate some extra logs and see if we can go beyond the threshold of 30,000 and are we able to see any kind of alert here. All right, so let's try to see if we can generate more logs and if that generates any more traffic. So I'm going to start the server again. And this is the same output once again. We just started the HTTP monitor. It's Elasticsearch started with these many docs already, but these are all past docs, and the total number of hits from the past few counts. We did not hit anything in the last 10 seconds, so this is all clean. Now we're going to generate more logs right here, and so just go to the top level directory again, generate logs.sh, 32,000 logs. This crosses our threshold. So let's go see what happened. Is we got some hits right now in this 30th second interval, and the next 30th second interval, the 40th second interval, we got more number of hits for the same routes, for the same sections, different client IP address, and then we got more. And then we have an alert here, new alert, threshold crossed in the last 2 minutes, threshold 30,000, hits 32,000, and we also recorded that. And once we go to the next event, we do not show that alert again, but we still have the historical record. And this 32,847 is exactly the same as what we generated there. So let's try to generate more traffic now, because we're still in the threshold of the last 2 minutes. It says this is only 14,000. So let's see what happens here. We still did not receive those 14,000 logs in Elasticsearch, but now we did. And what is this? We now have a new alert saying we have 46,917 hits. How did this come up to 46,000? It's basically the 30,000 from before, 32,000 from before, plus 14,000 now. It's still in the same running average 2 minutes. So that's the reason why it shows 46,000. Now, as we go along and we actually pass this running average thing, the running average sliding window of two minutes, we're going to be able to see that if we have traffic less than 30,000, it's not going to show up in this alert. Let's try to get there and see if we can actually do that. So here I'm going to try to generate more logs, and I'm just crossing my fingers here. I should have instrumented this, but I want to generate very few logs now. Oh damn, I got 34,000. Anyway, what we're going to see is more hits because of that 34,000. That says, hey, we have 36,000. That's basically some leftover from the previous threshold and some from now. Let's wait for some time. Let's see if we can keep going ahead and see if it actually produces, if we can actually see something with less traffic the next time. But what you can see here, what we're seeing here is we're getting a lot of alerts. And what we're also seeing is we're constantly adding into that into the historical alerts. Why were we getting so many alerts there? The reason we were getting so many alerts is because I'm generating an alert at every 10-second interval. It comes exactly when I'm printing the table, and that's when I'm calculating the running average as well. And that sliding window is moving only by 10 seconds every single time I'm pulling it, and it's generating an alert at that time. This means if we had a real-time system and we were displaying something above, like some kind of a pop-up, for example, saying, hey, in the last 2 minutes we crossed this threshold and the traffic was this much in the last 2 minutes, that pop-up could keep changing with the new alert, and it could tell you exactly the real-time information, exactly how much it is, right from the time when the person is looking at it. That's a design choice. Maybe we don't want to show that frequent the frequent change of it. Maybe we just want to show that it actually went above the threshold and don't even want to show the number. Maybe we want to have complete separate discrete buckets of 2 minutes instead of the running average of 2 minutes. But that's a design choice. That's something that would be decided based on what exactly our customers would like, and what we determine as the best option for the real product. But for this purpose, I'm just showing an alert for every single running average every single 10 seconds. The intent is to update the pop-up that would come up in the screen saying that there's an alert. And the historical alerts also stores every single 10-second record. The reason for that is so that we can go back from the seconds input given here and go back 2 minutes from there and determine that, hey, this is the amount of hits we got from the time from this time minus 2 minutes. Anyway, let's see. Now we're at 311 seconds. I think we need to get to 340, and we're going to generate logs after that again and see if what happens after that. 331 and alright, so we're going to generate logs now. It's only 12,000. Yay! So now we generated those logs, it got ingested. There's no new alert. No new alert. The historical alerts are still the same, but we did get more hits in the last 10 seconds. Same, it's still counting. It's in this new 10-second range. We still got more hits, but still no new alert. No changes in the historical alerts, and we've already absorbed all the 12,000 logs now. Now we're still in the running average of the last 2 minutes with the 12,000 hits. So let's generate logs and see what happens. Now we just generated 5,000. Still did not cross 30,000. So we're going ahead. No new alerts. The 5,000 probably came up here in the 391th interval. And let's see. Yep, no new alerts. Still in the same interval of the 12,000 before. Now we have 38,000. So I do expect an alert this time. Let's see. So this did not cross the 30,000 range yet. Let's see the next 10 seconds. Yes, we do have a threshold cross. So there is an alert, a threshold cross, and this time we counted the total hits to be 42,000. Let's look at the next interval. Now it's gone up to 57,000. This is because it's still counting the 38,000. It still hasn't counted all of them yet. In the next range, there's nothing. That was it. That's it. Done. We've already got all the alerts. So now if we look at all the historical alerts, we're able to quickly see at what time we actually got the alert, and in the last 2 minutes from that alert, what were the total number of hits. And I think this is kind of all that we needed. So thank you for the project. Thank you for your time. If you have any questions, do let me know. You have my email and we can take a look. Thank you. Bye-bye.